Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my full review on the Curtis Custom Knives F3 Large. So this was sent in by a viewer, a guy on Instagram I've been chatting with. His name is Jamie. Jamie Loves Knives on Instagram. I should be linking that below for you. And he graciously had this sent in to me. So I actually am really liking this knife. It has very much made me consider getting one like it. I don't know if I would get the large, just because it is a bit large. And I'm sure there's got to be a medium if there's a large, right? Or a small, or whatever you want to call it. And I'm sure that would fit my hand a little bit better. You can see here, if I choke back on it, I still got plenty of, room there. It could just be that it's a little beefier than I like, and ultimately even a smaller one is going to feel that way. But I'm really digging it. So, aesthetics. You have this awesome titanium finish with this green anno. This anno work was done by Justin from OCD for EDC. Then you have this very nice stonewash blade. It really kind of has a similar look. Really, the whole thing, I've said this, has a similar look to the Holt Haptic. And even the finish on the blade kind of is that, they call it Stonewash 2.0 or something. It kind of has a similar look to that. It's almost like a mirrored stonewash. Very interesting. It is a Warncliffe style blade, sheep's foot style blade with a hollow grind that starts, halfway, a third down the blade, kind of goes out to the tip. Again, very haptic-esque, I have to say. But when it comes to the pivot design and the clip, it definitely is different. But I'm not saying they're alike in a bad way. I'm just saying it's amazing how similar they are. I'm not saying anybody copied anybody. I just really like the whole haptic, and this reminds me of it in a bigger way. I think that's really cool. So the aesthetics I really like. It does have a ginormous, what Nick Shabazz would call a pocket pecker, but regardless of the size, it functions extremely well, and I actually don't hold it against the knife too much. It could be smaller, I guess, but would it flip like that? I don't know. It flips fantastically. For a big heavy blade like this to flip out like that and have the detent feel so good, not feel too stiff, is an accomplishment in my book. So I really like the aesthetics. Ergonomics are also fantastic. In this grip back here, I got plenty of room. I could spread out. It does have a swell here and kind of a longer swell out to here and a flat back here. I'm not going anywhere near that flat, but a giant hand might. My hand just fits perfectly into the grip of this knife. You have a choil up here. Not sure if it's meant to be a finger choil, but it's plenty big for me. And then you have that giant flipper tab to pull on, so you get great control of that blade. Really like the ergonomics on this knife. Carry is pretty good. The clip works fantastically well. You do have a bit sticking out, but it's a giant knife, so that kind of helps. It's heavy, and it's large, and it's fat. Because of the flipper tab, it's a little chunky, not really chunky, but heavy, right? I believe there is no internal milling, not that I can see. So I think if he did a small one with internal milling, I think that would work very well for me, but I don't know if that exists. I'd have to look into it. But yeah, so I like the carry. It's just the nature of the knife being so big and having a pocket pecker, it's not going to be great, right? So it's hard to explain that one, but if you carry it with nothing else in that pocket and you're okay with the weight, it's fine, right? But if we're grading it compared to a bug out, well then, yeah, it's not very good. That's the best way I can put it. But the clip functions very well. And I like the look of that clip. The little marksman symbol on it. Cutting. So this thing cuts extremely well. It has a hollow grind. It is thin behind the edge. It feels fantastic going through paper and cardboard. That's all I tested it on, and not very much because this is not my knife, and it's about a $600-700 one. So try to be careful with other people's stuff, regardless of what they tell me. I'm pretty sure he told me to do whatever, but I'm always going to be careful with loaners. Yeah, cuts very well. It has a very large blade, and it utilizes it very well with the ergonomics. You can get very good control of it. I really like it. The blade stock is relatively thick, but for the size of the knife, it makes perfect sense to me. So cutting is good, guys. Sounds. Sounds are good. There's nothing like acoustically blowing me away here, but they're very good. I'd give it a 6 out of 10, right? It does have that kind of custom sound to it. Detent gets sucked in. It clacks out very nicely. It's just something to an American-made or a very well-made CNC custom. I don't know how to explain it, but I was talking about that with the Trevor Burger, which obviously is not American, but custom nonetheless. The haptics have it. You know, all of the kind of custom knives have it. It's just something that, you know, exists. I guess the Slim Mini doesn't, but it does have a unique sound when it flies out. So I don't know. Anyway, very good. Action then. So again, flipper tab is a little big, but man, that detent is perfect. I could not ask for a better detent on a knife like this. I was so surprised by it. It is very strong. I mean, it takes some force to get it out of there, and you'll see it suck in. So it is a strong detent, but the way they designed the flipper tab, it just is no problem, and it does not feel stiff in any way. You could do this 1,000 times, and you would never be like, ow, it's too strong, right? Just the way they did the whole thing, and the way this flipper is designed, it just works very, very well. I am impressed. It's more of a light switch than a push button, because if you go to push button it, it's kind of like shoving, you know, it's because it's so big, you're like pushing into the tab. It works, sort of, you know, but I much prefer to just pull down on it and let it fly out. So there's that. Lock bar pressure is a thing. If, you know, you get on there too hard, it's going to be an issue, but I never found that to be an issue left-handed. I'm always in a good area. And again, you can put some pressure on it. You just can't put a ton of pressure on it. So, yeah. Action on the close is close to drop shut. Again, not my knife, so I think a little tuning would go a long way. I did put KPL heavy on the detent ball, and it definitely has helped to the point where it's almost there. Again, you got to remember it has a nice strong detent, so that lock bar does have some pressure on it, which will prevent drop shut, but I will take the trade-off. And I think, again, if you just turn that pivot a cinch to the left, it would just drop. There's absolutely no play in any which way. So again, I think you have some room in that pivot to turn it a little bit. But yeah, action's phenomenal, guys. Value, you know, $600-700 for one of these bad boys. But it's an American-made product, right? Do I even know what the steel is? I don't. Huh. I'm gonna guess 20 CV, just because most things are these days. I guess it could be S35VN. How did I never know the steel on this? That's crazy. I'm just so excited about the detent. I didn't even think about the steel. Weird. I mean, I used it, and it feels really good. I mean, the amount I've used it, it could be 8CR, right? But I have a feeling that it's M390, or 20 CV, I should say. But it's possible that it's S35 or something. It could even be D2 for all I fucking know. But pretty sure I'm right about 20 CV. Just knowing the price point and everything, it just adds up. then it would be S35 at the least, and M390 most likely 20CV, 204p, one of those. Yeah, interesting. I never even looked that up. Why didn't I? No, I don't know. Just never even crossed my mind. Maybe I knew in the unboxing or something. Does it come with a card? Hang on. I have the case or the zip pouch right here. Comes with a card, but not a. It's not a COA or anything. So yeah, I don't know. Anywho, I totally understand the price point at $600-700. Yeah, I mean, if it turned out to be like D2, I'd probably be a little bit miffed about it. But if it is S35 or 20CV, $600-700. I mean, my Slim Midis were $600 ish. One of them was $645, and one of them was like $590. My Hoback Sumo $550. You know, Hinderer knives, if you do anything but get a base model, you're paying at least $500. Chris Reeve, you know, $450-ish. Again, that's a base model. So I totally get it, and I think that price is fine. Do I recommend this knife? Well, yeah. I mean, if you like the knife, I recommend it. It is well built, well put together. Fit and finish is fantastic. It cuts very well. The action is very good. Now, again, if you're just saying, do you recommend it as a knife to everybody? Well, that's stupid, right? If you're left-handed and you have an issue with frame locks, then you probably don't want this guy, right? But I'd say it works very well for a lefty. If you're right-handed and you have issue with frame lock pressure, might not be for you. If you don't like pocket peckers, this is definitely not for you. This is a pocket pecker if there ever was one. Does it bother me? Not really. I actually really like the flipper tab on this. This is one of the best detents on a knife I have handled, hands down. The Liangma Field Duty is the epitome of detent to me. The Holt Haptic and Holt Spectre, very good detents on those knives. My Trevor Berger for a front flipper, best detent I've ever handled on a front flipper. This is one of, if not the best flipper detent I've ever felt. Or actions, I guess you would say. It is that good, guys. Very impressed with the Curtis Custom Knives F3 Large. So, I am so grateful to Jamie for letting me check this out. This was one I would have never said, like, hey, can I check it out? You know, I would have never asked somebody to check it out. I would have never bought one just off the shelf or whatever. And now I'm thinking I want to get a smaller one. So, you know, whatever that's worth. But yeah, guys, this is the Curtis Custom Knives F3 Large. I really appreciate you listening to me rant and rave. As usual, I love you all. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will catch you later.